Welcome to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report, the only show that provides you with the best insight and information to everything Franklin County sports. And now here's your host, Bobby C.
Hello and welcome to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. I'm Bobby C. We're so glad you made it here today. Want to say a big thank you to our producers here today, Philippe Simone and John Meisner. Also, we get Allie Murphy to help us out as well. And a couple of guys here, we're going to talk some football. These were the coaches of the Pioneer Valley Regional Middle School program. You know, there's been a lot of talk about whether we can resurrect varsity sports for football at Turners Falls High School, which is the co-op program with Pioneer. We're going to talk to these guys today. Want to say a big thank you to our underwriters here today as well. The Four Leaf Clover Restaurant in Berniston, Denny's Pantry, Berniston Road in Greenfield, Lisa Albert of Albert Hearing Services, 33 Riddell Street in Greenfield, and by Hubie's Tavern and Restaurant, Avenue A in Turners Falls. Well, let's get right to it. Let's introduce our two gentlemen here today. We got head football coach Rich Burgh. We also have assistant coach here in Joe Arsenault. Guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Gentlemen, you know, we've been talking about what is going to happen with our sports programs in this area. We're seeing numbers that are definitely depleting. Had a chance to have a media conversation with Jeff Terrell about where we thought it was going to go. Had a chance to talk to Joe Gamache, and we use Joe as our example because he is the head football coach of the Franklin County Tech, who has been bringing in some huge numbers of kids into that school. So the big question is are we going to be able to get some of these smaller schools in our area, like Pioneer Valley Regional in Turners Falls High School, who started their merge program a couple of years ago, will we be able to get it back, knowing that Turners Falls High School merged with Mohawk for the 2019 season? Rich, you guys had a wonderful year. You had an undefeated season. There was a lot of things that you guys had to make for adjustments to be able to get your football program to be able to go for 2019. How do you think it went?
I think it went great. We had, we started out with 9 kids when the season started, and the best thing about us is the backup of our administration. Our AD, our principal said, we're not canceling the program. 9 kids, 7 kids, 8 kids. We'll play 7 on 7, 8 on 8. They did everything they could to keep it, and we were able to, scavenge up a couple, 4, 5, 6 more kids and able to play 11 on 11 this year. It was awesome. We had a lot of kids that never played football before that came out. They're dedicated. They worked hard, and it showed in our record. It was great.
Yeah, congratulations on the season that you guys had. A nice undefeated season for you guys. The kids worked really hard, like you said. Coach Arsenault, one of the things that makes it hard is also the fact that, you need to work together on your level, you and Rich. You guys need to work together too. And knowing that you have a small group of kids, it must have made it fun because they almost were like in a prep school format of going into prep schools. When you go to school into a classroom, you have like 10 or 12 kids in a classroom.
Yeah.
You guys had the opportunity where you guys were able to have a small group that you guys could both work with. Was it very beneficial for you?
It was very beneficial. When we started the program in middle school, I was still living in Berniston. I live in South Hadley now, so I make the trip every day.
Good for you. That's a big commitment, Joe.
And a lot of it has to do with the guy sitting on my right. I enjoy coaching with him. He completely takes over the defense. I completely take over the offense. There's no butting heads. There's no misunderstandings. So I have no plans of changing the school that I coach for, even though I live 45 minutes away.
Yeah, and you definitely made that commitment. I know I live in Berniston, and I live right down the street from the school, so I knew how nice the commute is whenever I was doing a high school game during basketball season. When we do our games. I've been announcing basketball now for a while for high school hoops, and it's always nice when I got a Pioneer game just right up the road.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, man, you got. But the good thing is you got time to think about what you're going to do before you get to practice or the game, and on the way home, you can sort of reflect on what you were able to see with the kids that day.
Yeah.
And it sort of gives you a chance to sort of have that sort of time with yourself, right?
Yep, and you can ask Rich. Typically when I get home is when I start messaging him immediately about, things that I seen, things that maybe he's seen that I didn't see.
Yep.
So it definitely gives time for reflection.
And I just want to say thank you to both of you guys for the commitment, because I think that taking the time to be able to work with these kids, especially with a small number, makes it hard, because now these kids, a lot of them have to learn both ways.
Absolutely.
They have to learn from you. They have to learn from you. You have a little bit of a different concept of how you coach compared to him.
Absolutely.
And the kids have to sort of adjust to both of you. And if you noticed, that's one of the hardest adjustments that I think the kids have to make in sports now, is a lot of these football teams have kids that are playing both ways. Back when I was a kid, it was one way. We had enough kids so that it was a one-way deal. You know, I was an offensive lineman. That's what I played. So you guys understand that that's also a role that can be very tough, especially for a kid who has never played before.
Absolutely. We don't get to do a ton of hitting. So we do a lot of dummy work, and we do a lot of mental reps, and we take a lot of physical reps, but without contact. And, you know, we had a couple of teams that we played this year, like out in Narragansett, stuff, says, how do you guys so physical to be only 15 kids? And I said, you know what? We save all of our energy for Tuesday games. We do a lot of mental work. We watch a lot of film. We do a lot of things that when we get on the football field, these kids don't have to think anymore. They just get out there and they play hard, and they can use all their energy in playing hard instead of using their brains. And, you know, it's been great. The kids are healthy. We don't have a lot of injuries because we don't hit a lot of practice, you know, and they have all that built up energy to be able to go out and play on Tuesdays and represent their school, and it was awesome.
It shows when they get out on the field on Tuesdays too, just how much they're ready to hit people.
Well, it's because you guys didn't give them a chance to hit all week.
Right.
So now they're ready to play. And the other thing, too, is what a smart concept, because what is usually the biggest problem with a lot of these teams? A lot of these kids are getting hurt.
Injured.
They're getting injured during practice. They're not even getting injured at these games. Well, this year, the one thing I have noticed a big problem with, boy, guys, there's been a lot of kids that have been getting hurt with concussions this year, and it really bothers me because I know that there's this, I don't think a lot of these kids know how to hit properly.
No, 100%.
Do you agree with that?
Oh, 100%.
We changed our whole tackling style. You know, when Coach Worth came in 2 or 3, 4 years ago, he was a big believer in the hawk tackling. And all it is it's called eyes to the thighs, and you tackle the lower half. You don't give that opportunity for the helmet to helmet anymore. And I guess Pete Carroll started it once he went to the Seahawks, and it's huge. It's huge because we don't make a ton of helmet to helmet contact. We believe in you. If you get a running back, you can't run if you don't have legs. So you take the legs away, and now it's over with. I don't care how big they are, and you ain't got to tackle them right away. You get on and hold on until your friends come and help you out. You know, so it's, you know, that's a big thing we teach is gang tackling. Everybody gets to the football. It don't matter how big the back is. You got to hold on to them until somebody else can help you. You ain't got to tackle them one-on-one, but you got to make sure you take away their legs or they're going to continue to go. And you try to hit, you know, a 250-pound fullback or whatever in high school up high, you're not going to tackle them. You're going to get hurt.
We call it Gronk tackle, man.
That's right.
You want a Gronk tackle? You want a Gronk tackle? Hey, listen. If you're on his shoulders, he'll take you 15 yards down the field.
Absolutely.
But if you take out his legs, where's he going, guys?
Nowhere.
On the
down.
ground. You got it exactly. And the one thing that people don't understand is that there's proper ways to be able to utilize the tackling format to be able to protect players.
Yes.
And you guys are doing that. Which, hey, look at you had an undefeated season. Like you said, your injuries were pretty minimal this year, right?
We had zero injuries this year. Zero.
We had to wrap somebody's ankle once.
Yep, and that's because he stepped in. You know, you get on fields that have been used a lot. They get divots, and he stepped in a divot. But other than that,
it was the one time that we wrapped it. It wasn't like it was.
It's always either a divot, guys, or it's literally getting blocked by another player that gets blocked into you because you're getting rolled on. You know what I mean? And let me tell you, I think my biggest injuries that I ever had in high school were getting my own player that would get blocked and rolled up onto the back of my leg. And when you're not expecting it and you just get, you know, because my body was moved away that I didn't, you know, I thought I was away from the play. Well, when Joe end up getting popped and Joe ends up falling back. Well, Joe landed on the back of my leg because I had my leg wrong. And then I ended up hurting myself. But that's what happens all the time in the NFL. I watch it all the time. A lot of these guys have done a good job of being able to protect themselves. It's mostly the ones that are getting rolled on, you know? But think about it. These kids that you're able to prevent from getting injuries is only going to be able to protect them to be able to be ready and fresh every season. So teach them young, like you guys are doing. I think it's a great move. Congratulations on that. I think that's excellent. And I watch a lot of these kids that are playing high school football, and a lot of these kids, their proper technique is really weak. And I have to admit it, guys, it's not good.
I think a lot of that is a lot of these kids now grow up playing just flag football. So when they get into middle school, it's not taken into account that they've never tackled before.
Correct.
So that's one of the things that we're trying to fix at our level.
I'm at a point now where if we have to play flag football to keep kids to at least to stay interested in playing the game of football and teach them all the other stuff to be able to have that, guys, I'm all for it. I really am. I'm going to be honest. I'm for it because I'll tell you why. If we have to go and do flag football until the kids get into middle school and then we start getting guys like you who start teaching the proper technique and the proper way to be able to do it, then they will prevent injuries, but they're also going to still know how to be able to play the way they need to play.
Absolutely.
They can still get that at that youth level. Yep. It's okay, and maybe we go away from that. Maybe it builds more confidence in the parents too, to be able to say, my 8-year-old, this is a better way for my 8-year-old to learn how to play football. I'm going to be honest with you guys. We didn't have tackle football when I was a kid. We played flag, and it was through the YMCA program. YMCA ran a huge flag football program that was based out of the Y for all Franklin County kids. We had, I think we had like 14 teams, guys.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
we used two fields. We used two fields, and we used Beacon Field and we used Green River, you know, and we had the two fields. And at Green River at the time, they didn't split the field like they do for the men's league now. It was all just one.
Oh, wow.
So we only had two fields. But you'd have 4 teams that were playing for each time, right?
Yep.
So what we would do is, I think it was 12 teams, I think it was how it was. So there were 3 different times, and it was an hour and 15 minutes is the time limit of each game, 15 minutes in between games. So every Saturday, we would pretty much run with 3 different times that we would play in 2 different locations, whether we were going to go up to Beacon. Of course, everybody wanted to play at Beacon.
Absolutely.
Beacon Field, you know, was the field, right?
Absolutely.
That was like the premier field.
Yep.
And we ran an 80-yard format of the flag. So it was an 80-yard. You know, they would set up with an 80-yard format. Everybody got the ball at the 20, you know, and that was, you know, and what we did was every 20 yards was considered a first down, you know,
Awesome,
that's how we did it. And it was all flag, and it was a way to be, it's almost like the men's league is pretty much how it runs sort of now down at Green River Park. But what it was it was a way to be able to defend. It was a way to learn how to be able to pass block because passing was big. And then it got your linemen how to be able to roll out on run plays.
Absolutely.
And so there was a lot of things. And a lot of these guys, they wanted to be behind the big guy because the big guy, you kept your flag up against the back of the big guy.
Absolutely.
When you know what I'm saying?
And then as somebody comes, you push off and go the opposite way.
You see, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know.
It teaches you how to use your blockers
I
a lot
became
better.
like pretty popular.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
But the bottom line is that that's how we learned how to play football, guys.
Right.
Yep.
Then when we got into middle school, we learned the technique of tackling and all that stuff.
I think the only place that we don't do a good service to the kids middle school wise is there's no kicking, live kicking.
No.
I agree.
So they
Every
learn
single school-
in 9th grade that it's, you know, full force. You need to run as fast as you can, and I think that creates bad habits just for the
Couldn't
kids
agree more.
literally running 100 miles an hour at you because they've never done it before.
It's true. You know, we don't have kicking now. We if you notice that most of these schools, I'd say 80%, maybe 90% go for 2 points now.
Instead of field goals?
They don't know how to kick a field
We
goal.
only played one team that went for a field goal this year, and that was Narragansett.
Narragansett, yep. They had a kid that was he's on his way to JV or whatever, and he's going to be a kicker up there. So, I mean, he went out there and he missed it, but he's
Definitely gave it a shot.
Getting the reps at practice.
After that, we talked about potentially doing that next year.
Yep.
Because that's what the next level is kicking.
It is. But if you notice something, guys, with the way the new format is of all these schools that are having number problems, look at how bad the kicking situation is in the NFL today, guys.
Yeah.
Look at how much
You're
it's down.
absolutely right.
Am I lying?
No, you're absolutely right. It's hard. I mean, even in college, it's hard to find a consistent kicker.
Did you notice that?
Yep.
Because you know why? The really good kickers are playing what? Soccer.
Yeah, when I was in high
playing
school,
soccer.
I was at Mahar, and
Yep.
our kicker was a transplant from soccer.
There you go.
Because that was, my senior year was different. We had a kid who played with me up through senior year.
Did you play under Coach Woodward?
Yes.
You did. So you had the opportunity to play under Coach Woodward. He took the years off so he could be able to enjoy watching his son play, and then
Yep.
he came back to the school again. I'm going to tell you something. Those are the kind of coaches that are hard to find these days.
I still, every time we go to Mahar, I seek him out. I don't care where he is. I find him.
Jim's a
I
good
say
man.
hi.
I love Jim. I have a
Me
lot
too.
of respect for Jim. I think Jim has been wonderful for the program over at Mahar. I think that he cares about all those kids.
Absolutely.
And I also can tell you this, too. he's a really good mastermind of football.
Oh,
He's got
without
a
a doubt.
great mind of the game.
Absolutely.
He is truly an excellent coach in this area. We're very fortunate. And if you look at the way Mahar started this year and where they're now at going into this playoff week, hey, they're in a good spot.
Absolutely.
They're in a good place right now.
Yeah, when I
Chip's
was-
done an excellent job with getting these kids back from week 1, week 2.
For sure. I was on the team that won the first Super Bowl for them, 2003.
Congrats.
And, we worked with the team that was, or the age group that was just below us. And they went on to win back-to-back. And coach is a huge, huge part of that.
Yeah.
Because he instills the right way to do things at all times.
I have a lot of respect for Jim. Guys, let's just get right to it for a second on the big question of the day. What are our chances of resurrecting the football program between Pioneer and Turner's Falls as far as being able to get that magic number that they're looking for, the MIAA? They want that magic number 20.
Yep.
They're asking for the number 20 to make sure you can get 20 kids between the two schools to make it work. You had a chance to be able to play Turner's this year, so you know what the Turner's Middle School program looks like.
Yep.
You have your own program that you have. Where are we at right now as an opportunity to try to make this work?
There's a lot of talent in the area for sure. Turner's had a really good team this year. They're pretty young, but they really turned it on at the end of the season. We had 16. We had 4 7th graders, so everything outside of that was 8th graders. And there's a lot of kids saying they want to stay around at Pioneer, which is a plus because, nothing against Tech. Tech's a great school, and you go there and you learn a lot of good things. But the athletes going there, it hurts every other school. And so we got these kids that are they want to stay around, which is going to help the merge, I think. We had a lot of really good athletes this year, and they stay around, and it helps us continue to build that merge. And then eventually, hopefully one day, Turner's will have their program back, Pioneer, and so on and so forth. So I think the amount of talent that's in this area, there's no doubt about it, if they merge again, they're going to be a tough team to deal with. So
for sure.
There's a lot of really good kids and a lot of really good coachable kids with a lot of great talent. So
I want to thank Mohawk for giving the opportunity to the kids.
Absolutely.
Because it at least was an opportunity to say, you're welcome to come.
Yes.
I know that it's going to be a little bit of a transportation issue, which it was for you guys, and you've talked about that. But at least the opportunity was given.
Absolutely.
And I will tell you this is the honest to God truth. I had an interview with Doug McLeod as well.
Yep.
Doug said if it wasn't for Turner's Falls, they would not have a team, period.
Absolutely.
So he definitely thanks the opportunity of the MIAA to say, we're going to grant this.
especially last
And give
minute,
them the
they were
chance.
able to get
Yes.
it through so them kids could play.
That was what, the first week of
close to it.
Literally
Yeah.
this year?
Literally was
Yeah.
the first week,
Yep.
guys. Matter of fact, those kids were practicing with the team, not knowing if they were
Right.
going to be able to do
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah, I
Can you
remember that.
imagine making the commitment that they might say no?
Right.
And you still went up there, you put helmets and pads on, and you threw on a Warrior shirt
Right.
just because you just wanted to play football.
Yep.
That's
That's
huge.
why I give a lot of credit to those kids that all made the commitment with Driscoll and with Jaden Whiting and Duclos and these other kids that have
Absolutely.
really made that commitment to go up to Mohawk and do this.
Yeah.
The cool thing is, guys, I'm excited about this week. Greenfield is going to play Mohawk. It's the given game
That's
that
gonna be
everybody's
awesome.
been wondering about since both teams didn't make playoffs.
Yep.
It was like, okay, we're going to put the matchup in.
Yep.
I think it's going to be a huge crowd on Friday night.
I think so, too.
I think
Without
it's
a
going to
doubt.
be a huge crowd.
Absolutely.
And I think that it's going to be what we consider, in my eyes, as an alumni at Greenfield High School, it's going to be our chance to be able to watch our Turkey Day game on that
Absolutely.
night.
Absolutely.
Because this is about what we're going to get.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
And I'm very excited that they're doing it. The only thing is that they're having the game up at Mohawk, and it's supposed to be a snowy day,
Yes,
maybe on
Friday
Friday.
night, yeah.
Who knows what kind of a mess it could
I heard
be
it's
up
supposed
there.
to be 50 and rainy, so I think we're going to avoid that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
Snow
things-
might have been pushed
so
to Saturday.
It might have got pushed. It might be pushed
Yep.
to a different day. Okay. So the bottom line is that they're going to be playing up there on a more of a mild night.
Absolutely.
Really.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and I
which
think-
I think will still be fun though.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I know that it'll benefit Mohawk because they, that wing offense, they
Yeah.
run a lot. I didn't get a chance to see much of Greenfield this year.
Well, let me
so-
tell you what they've done is they moved their quarterback, Jake Sack, into a running back now.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic
And I'm
athlete.
going to tell you what, the kid's a bull.
He's
The
a
kid's
fantastic
a bull. He's
athlete.
a great athlete. He's got a good vision of every game that he plays.
Good.
He's a good visionary when it comes to his game of football. He knows how to play the best defense that he can on the basketball court, and he's one hell of a baseball player too.
Absolutely.
He really is.
It should be a really good game.
The kid's a good athlete. But then you got a kid who's starting to build a lot of confidence as a junior up at Mohawk with Sean Davenport, because he's such a tall kid, he can see the field. And look who he's got for weapons, like Jaden Whiting, who's a great weapon.
Absolutely.
He's got weapons. And Evan Shippey has done an excellent job in the backfield
I
over
agree,
at
110%.
Mohawk this year.
Yep.
You got great linemen. I mean, look at what Duclos has been able to do,
That
plowing
kid's
through guys on,
phenomenal.
on the offensive line.
Yep.
And then on the Greenfield end, you got guys like Lyons and you got guys like Avery, who are two big boys that are sitting on the line. Should be an interesting game
Absolutely.
on Friday night
Absolutely. It's gonna
between
be a
these
great
two
one.
teams. And I think the excitement is starting to brew. It's
Right.
Tuesday as we do our show here, and I think things are brewing. You know?
That's awesome.
So the one team that we've been able to say that's had a solid year is Frontier.
Yep.
Guys, they have the players. And it's in every sport, guys. I wanted to just bring this up since we could talk about this as all part of our little interview here. We got field hockey is going right now, and the girls' field hockey team got the #1 seed.
That's awesome.
They have a chance to play Greenfield, which has been their rival forever. They could be playing each other later this week in the tournament.
Awesome.
You got volleyball. They won this past week. They ended up winning against East Hampton. So now they're moving on to the next level, going for their 15th straight Western Mass title.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
Their golf team, Mikey Kordoff, right here, guys, leads the local contingent in the Division II state golf tournament.
That's
Him.
amazing.
This kid's young, but there's another kid. He's an 8th grader named Gunnar Moore. He is a stud. He's
Really?
only an 8th grader, and he played in the state. And also Ryan Cody from Greenfield was in the States too.
Oh, wow.
So we want to give them guys a big shout out and a congratulations to them.
Absolutely.
The Turners Falls field hockey program, guys, they only have one senior, which is one of our assistants here with Allie Murphy. She is going to be gone. They get their whole team back. They ended
wow.
up losing a heartbreaker in overtime against Smith Academy, who was undefeated. They lost 1-0 in overtime.
Oh, wow.
So that is a program that's coming back through.
Yep.
Of course, the Green Wave, they ended up winning big against Southwick, so they ended up winning big, so they're going to move on. They will be playing in their matchup for the semifinals tomorrow, and if they end up winning tomorrow, then they will end up, most likely, in my eyes, I think they'll end up playing against Frontier.
Frontier, right.
And you're going to have another Western Mass Championship against two of the locals there.
Which is awesome.
You know? And like I said, the volleyball program is just absolutely nasty when
Yeah.
it comes to how things are rolling down at Frontier. Now, what we have, and this is a nice thing that you want to hear, Mahar earned themselves an opportunity now, so they got their berth all set up.
Which you would not have seen at the beginning of the season.
At the beginning of the season,
You wouldn't have thought
I
it.
wouldn't have given them any chance after the way they started. But like we said, their ending has been incredible. But here's the best part, guys. Frontier played earlier this year against Chicopee, and they shot themselves in the foot 3 times and ended up losing that game that they should have easily won against Chicopee. Well, what happened was with Chicopee beating them, they ended up flipping the seeds going in. So now, where Frontier was hoping for a home game on Friday night, they now got to go to Chicopee on Friday. But same teams have already seen each other once. That is going to be one
great
heck of a
game.
playoff
Absolutely.
game between them. And of course, Mahar is, they don't have an easy ride. They're going to have to go out there and they're going to have to play a tough one. But the bottom line is, I'm going to tell you right now, Frontier's in for a tough one because they are in a very tough division.
Absolutely.
Division 7
Yes.
has some good teams. I mean, you think about it, South Hadley's nasty, Wacona, those are all in. They're all in.
Yep.
And
Every year it
Every
seems.
year.
Every
same,
year.
Exactly. And Huzik is really good in the division where Mahar is involved too,
Yep.
And that's going to be a little bit of a tough one for them as well. But the Warriors, they ended up literally knocking off Drury, guys. They beat Drury on the road, a team that everybody was like, wow, they're playoff, they're a playoff team. They're going to be fine. Well, Warriors went in there and they ended it to them.
That's awesome.
23-7 on Friday night. So that was a nice win for them. And of course, Sac ended up having the huge game that
Yeah,
they
yeah,
had,
huge
and they ended up winning big against the Tech School guys. I did not expect this score. I did not expect the 36-12 game.
I did not either. I thought it was
got to be
much
honest with
closer.
you guys. I thought it was going to be a really, really close game, and I was wrong. I mean, it looked like the breakdowns must have just been a really tough night for the tech school that night, and everything seemed to have gone really well for the Wave.
Absolutely.
And that was a big win for them against the tech school, and they had a huge crowd for that game as well.
That's awesome.
You look at another school that's made a situation happen just like you guys are going through. The Mohawk soccer team, they didn't have enough players at the beginning of the year to play. They were able to get enough players. They ended up having a vote. And with the vote that went through, they ended up deciding that they were going to be able to have their soccer program. Headline, Warriors make history. Pick up their first ever postseason win in boys soccer.
That is huge.
That is amazing.
They were not going to have a team, guys.
Yep.
At the beginning of the year, this team was not going to have a team. And now they ended up winning. And they are now going to the second round of the playoffs.
Gives them kids hope.
Doesn't it?
School hope. That's what we need around here.
Isn't that a great story right there?
It's amazing.
I love that story. Of course, I want to bring up a situation that I think is really sad, guys, and this is what's happening in sports. The Franklin County Tech Co-op program, because they play soccer with Turners, guess what, guys? They have to move up a division because of that. So they play a Division IV schedule all year long, and they have to go play Division III in the tournament.
What?
That's crazy.
Yeah, last year, this is the truth, guys. Last year, they were 18-2. They got the last seed in Division III, and they got beat in the first round. Well, guess what happened this year, guys? They got the last seed again, right? They ended up losing to one of the powerhouses in this area for soccer in Hampshire Regional.
Is it just because of numbers of both of the schools?
Because they add the boys' numbers of the boy population for both schools.
That is tough.
So
It'd be one thing if they were playing Division III all season long.
that's my point. And I got to tell you, this is the quote that was said by Coach Richardson. He says, "We're playing in the wrong division."
Yes.
I agree.
Because this is how it rolls. This is how this rolls with us. He also says, you know what? We can do what we can do. We're playing a superior soccer school, and we're playing in a situation where we have two schools who literally are merging boys together to have a program.
Right.
Our defense played as well as we could, but unfortunately with an injury to our goalie, we ended up bringing in a first-timer for the first time this year into the net
To play
against not only a higher seeded.
They're playing the one seed, right?
They played the number 5 seed,
Oh, okay.
which that's how nasty Division III is. They said Division III soccer in this area is the most competitive.
I think that if they're going to do that for tournament, then they either play Division III all year.
Yep.
Or they play Division IV in the tournament.
Yeah.
Or they play
It
Division
doesn't-
IV in the tournament.
It doesn't make sense how they
It
can be
doesn't make
Division
sense.
IV during the regular season, but they have to be Division III for the tournament.
That's right.
Right.
Yep. So tell me that isn't a backwards way of having to be able to get these kids pumped up for a year.
That doesn't
Think
make
about
any
this.
sense.
18-2 last year,
That's a,
and they come out with the seedings. You're 18-2, and you get the
last
15
seed.
seed.
yeah, it's crazy.
Let me say it again, guys. 15 seed. That's just not right.
No.
It's
No.
not healthy for the kids either.
No.
And what does it do going into the tournament knowing that you're going up against the first team? Just say that they end up having every team having to play with no bye, right?
Right.
You'd play the number 1 seeded team in the first round.
And you know that at the beginning
And
of the
you
season.
know at the beginning of the season that they have dominated.
Right.
And you're a team that, yes, I admit, you ended up, because of the situation, you ended up playing against the Smith Vocationals and the Westfield Techs and those teams. But those are all the Division IV programs.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Now, Division III, I'm going to give you an example. A Division III school is Frontier Regional. Frontier Regional is a Division III school. You know what? They don't even have an independent game against Frontier. Why?
Right.
Maybe that's what you need to do.
Add a couple of
you
them
need to
independent
add a
ones.
couple of those independents against some of the local Division
For sure.
III schools.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it would. I think it would go a long way to the kids being able to play the better talent, the bigger schools. It'll help when it comes tournament time if they're not going to change it and keep making them go up a division
Yep.
for the postseason.
Exactly. And I look at it and I say to myself, so we literally have a team with Mohawk because they don't merge with anybody for soccer. They get to stay in the Division IV. We have a team with Turners and the Tech because they merge together and they have their numbers added.
Yep.
That's how they do it.
That's crazy.
That is
So I
crazy.
just wanted you guys to know that what a disadvantage to the soccer program over the tech school.
Absolutely.
On
That's
what
tough.
those kids got to go through.
That's tough.
All right. You know, and then like I said, you know, we talk about exciting times. You know, I know that you're familiar with this person. I'm not sure if you are, Joe. Do you? Maybe you are, because you're a Mohawk guy. I mean, a Mahar guy. Tina Riddell.
Yeah, I know.
Tina. Okay. Tina.
She used to coach gym for us. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I wanted to tell you that Tina took over the Green Wave program for girls soccer. They didn't make any playoff run at all for 15 years until last year. Last year, they made the tournament for the first time. Well, this year, they ended up getting in the tournament. Problem was, they ended up taking on a very good team in the first round. The girls were definitely at a little bit of a disadvantage of what they had to do. But they won their league championship for the first time. So after a team that spent 15 years without getting to a playoff berth, last year they made it. They didn't win the division, but they made it in the tournament. This year, they made the championship and won it in their division. They get to hang a banner in
That's
the
awesome.
GHS
That's
gym.
huge. That's huge for the kids.
It's huge for those girls.
Yep.
You know,
And if Tina knows anything, I can tell you, firsthand experience, she is a sports person.
She
sure
definitely
is.
is.
100%.
Yep.
Definitely
And
is.
I got to tell you this too. I know that when she has to get tough, she's going to get tough.
She has a great
Because she's
competitive edge.
competitor.
Yep.
She's got a competitive edge to her.
She's very compassionate, but she has a very competitive edge that,
She
you know,
really
which
does.
is perfect for them
Does
kids.
she-
I think so too.
Does she still coach softball at Pioneer, or did she move?
You know, I'm not
to
sure.
Greenfield?
I thought
It's
she
a
was
good
there
question
last year.
because I think that she still is with the Pioneer program.
I think last year she
still
definitely
is.
was. So
Yep. And I'm going to tell you, she has a great vision of what she wants to do.
Oh, for sure.
And for her to be able to take this program to their finished season of 14-3, that's pretty damn impressive.
that's amazing.
Oh, especially with, you said none in the previous 15 years?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Last year was their first year to be able just to get into the tournament, which was a huge deal. This year, not only did they get into the tournament, but they won their division,
That's awesome.
which means that they get to be able to raise a banner in the gym.
Yep.
And you think about it, you're watching all these other schools, all these other sports teams that are all getting something here or there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, girls soccer is going to be hung in the gym this year
That's
for
amazing.
GHS.
That's
And
awesome.
I think
Great.
that is awesome.
That
That is great.
So, you know, I guess we're pretty fortunate because we have a lot of kids that are dedicated. But it really starts with you guys. It starts at the middle school level.
Yes.
Whether it's soccer, football, basketball, starting off with the Angelo Thomas Drive program for
Absolutely.
hoops, starting off at the Franklin County Hockey Association over at the rink in our community. We only have one rink,
Yep.
you know, and even the guys from Orange and Athol are coming over and playing for us if they're not going out to Gardner.
Yeah, and it
You
wasn't.
know?
I was so angry because that wasn't an option when I was in high school.
You didn't have that option.
No.
Yeah.
And I grew up playing hockey.
Oh, you did?
I played football because I couldn't play hockey anymore.
Got it. Okay. So you never had that option in 2003,
Yep.
which now in 2019, it's a different game.
I think it's fantastic.
It is. It is. So you look at where we're at, guys. We talked about this too. You got 2 kids.
Yep.
You got 1 with your daughter. I only have 3 children myself, you know, and I'm an older gentleman. I'm 53, you know, I'm a lot older than you guys are. But the bottom line is look how things have changed, guys.
Right.
Look how things have changed. The numbers just aren't there. So what do we got to do? We have to try to figure out a way, a formula to be able to try to keep kids still interested in playing sports. And we need to start them off with a good vision
Absolutely.
when they're young.
Yes.
They need a good, you know the old song by the Monkees called The Stepping Stone, I'm not your step. Well, you know
Yes.
what? It's all about a stepping stone, guys.
Absolutely.
And you know what? It all starts with youth coaching.
Absolutely.
It comes down to youth coaching.
You have to
if
make-
they have a good experience with youth coaching,
They'll keep
their
going.
chances of them going to the next level are probably good.
Yep.
Okay?
And if they only play one sport, it's going to interest them in other sports.
Yep.
You know, if they
And
have
I
the time,
recommend other sports.
I do
I'm
too.
one of those
100%.
people that believe that you need to use all the different muscles in your body.
Yes.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you stick to one sport, it's probably your chance of getting injured is probably high.
Absolutely.
By the way. You know that?
Absolutely.
You
Just
know
'cause
that?
of
And if
muscles you
ask
never
most-
use.
If you ask most life coaches or if you ask most physical fitness people that are trainers,
Mm-hmm.
they'll tell you that a lot of the kids that play one sport are the ones who end up getting hurt.
I wish I would have remembered to bring it. There was an article in a larger capacity magazine about the need to play multiple sports when you're a child, not to just centrally focus on one sport,
Yep.
because it makes you a better athlete all around. when you play multiple sports year round.
Absolutely.
You know, you guys familiar with a kid by the name of Peter Bergeron?
Oh, yeah.
Greenfield High School standout. Yep. Well, Peter played basketball, even though that wasn't one of his greatest sports. But he was good at everything, no matter what. But he loved football and he loved baseball. Okay. But you know what? He didn't want to take the winter off.
Still wanted to be active.
So he wanted to be active, right? So he still played hoop too. Kid was still.
That's awesome.
Kid was good at no matter what he touched. I mean, it's just something about Peter, you know. But I look back at what he's been able to do in his career, and his kids now, his daughters are an excellent basketball player at Greenfield. She's going to be one of the future great Greenfield girls basketball stars. I'm telling you, it's going to come up through. His son, excellent little league player.
Yeah, yes. He's a good little ball player.
But you know what? Dad says you got to get out there.
Right.
You're gonna play. You need to play whatever you can play. Get out there and play.
Yeah.
It's not about one sport. And I think that this is what we need to teach the kids. And even if you get out there and you're not good at it, but you're at least keeping yourself, you know, fit and being able to keep yourself active, you're doing yourself a favor for your next sport that you are good at.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You know what? And you know what? Maybe by you being the guy who's not the greatest athlete to go out there and play a sport that you're not the greatest at, you're going to get a lot more respect from your peers.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And you're going to see people step out of their own shadows and say, oh, well, if he can do it, why can't I?
Exactly.
And then it brings more numbers back into the programs.
Because it wasn't just about him just being in his comfort zone, right?
Yep.
Because he'd be able to say, oh, well, you know, he's in his comfort zone. That's why he plays baseball, and that's all he plays. Well, guess what? It's nice to come out of your comfort zone and be able to work all the muscles in your body.
It's challenging, but in the end, it is definitely worthwhile.
It's rewarding, for sure.
Well, guys, I got to tell you, we need to keep the vision.
I agree.
We need to keep the vision. But my biggest question to you guys that I have is that where are we going? Are we going into a regionalization situation of this area where eventually we will have the vocational school team and we will have the pretty much Franklin County team? And maybe what we'll see is we'll see maybe a Mohawk end up having to go merge with somebody like Hoosick, and they're going to have to go and travel through Ashfield and go to that school to go to practices, or we are at a spot where you think we can be able to sustain having 4 or 5 teams still like we do now in our area.
I think it comes down to numbers. I mean, and like you said a minute ago, it starts at the younger ages of making the kids want to be passionate about the game. And if we can get these kids to just love the game of football and move up through the ranks, I think, definitely in the future we have the opportunity of having the, Pioneers, Turners, but if we don't have that, I think it's going to become a regionalization. I really do.
I want to bring up something here to Joe because this is something Joe's passionate about. Mahar and Athol have always been a huge rivalry. This year, they literally took off last week because they didn't have enough guys that were healthy to play. But they want to still be able to have that Turkey Day traditional game.
I can't see them merging. I can't see them merging. I mean, as much sense as it would probably make numbers-wise, it's hard for me to wrap around my head that Mahar and Athol would play on the same team. I mean, is it going to happen? It's a very good possibility, but
because really, what other option would they really have out there?
There's no close schools to Mahar and Athol.
You don't have one.
Mahar and Athol.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Would it be literally kids that are going to go to Turner's? Because the Irving kids had a choice, right, of where they could go to Mahar or they could go to Turner's, right?
Yep.
Right.
So if you live in the Irving area down where when you get down into the area where
they
the
don't have an actual school affiliation, so
they don't.
Would it shock me? No, it wouldn't shock me to see kids go to schools where they can represent their own school.
Got it.
I think that is the biggest thing that holds back from the regionalization is that kids want to represent where they go to school.
Right.
They don't want to represent, say, when we went to Turner's, Pioneer.
Yep.
Pioneer, their biggest thing was that they had to wear the blue of Turner's.
I know.
And, it's disheartening for the kids, but I think it will be good in the long run, just for numbers.
But I look at the whole big picture too, and I say to myself, well, where are we at as far as participation? And the participation at the younger level, it's there, guys.
Yes.
It's there. So to me, where do you start pointing fingers? You can't point them at the kids.
No.
That's the thing that gets me so mad, is that I've been coaching youth sports for over 20 years.
Right.
Why has Greenfield Minor League Baseball got 180 kids? Rich Burgh and I can look at you and tell you that we play 6 days a week.
Exactly.
So don't tell me that there's not any kids playing sports.
Right.
No, the kids are there.
The kids are there. Who do you point the fingers at? You know what you point the fingers at, folks? You point the fingers at the parents and point the fingers at the coaches.
Absolutely.
Period.
Yes. Absolutely.
Because it's not the kid's fault at that age. And you could sit there and you could tell me all day long that I'm wrong. But I'll fight you right to the end and tell you you're wrong.
I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong at all.
You know?
You're absolutely right.
And I'm sorry. You got to point the fingers at the parents and at the coaches.
Yep.
Can't point the fingers at the kids.
Nope, they're there. They're there.
They're there.
They wanna
Because
play.
I have seen these numbers consistently for years in what we do. Now, you're going to tell me that the Bulldogs and the Frontier team that are now going to a Super Bowl, that they don't have the numbers? You know what? They have enough numbers. They got numbers. What are you going to do to keep these kids interested?
Exactly.
You're going, these kids that are the juniors team of both Frontier and Greenfield, or Franklin County Bulldogs, they're going to a Super Bowl.
Yep.
They're playing Saturday, okay? So when anyone says, oh, there's no future opportunities, baloney. There is future opportunities.
Right.
Yes.
It's how you coach. It's how you parent.
Yep.
Yes.
That is what it comes down to.
Right.
Because why are those kids there? Because they want to play.
Exactly.
And you know what? If you don't give them a good experience, or as a parent, if you're not encouraging those kids and making them feel good about themselves,
It all goes
then
downhill.
how the hell are they going to get to the next level?
They won't.
No.
Period.
100%.
Yep. I
You
agree,
know?
110%.
And that's where I'm at, guys.
Yep.
You know what? I guess I tell people, I'm not here to advocate for the coaches or the parents. I'm sorry.
Nope.
I don't care about you guys.
Nope.
I care about the kids.
Absolutely.
Because this show wouldn't go if it wasn't for the kids.
Absolutely.
Franklin County Varsity Sports Report would not be on the air every single week if we didn't have student athletes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Because I'm not running the parents' league. Right. I'm not talking about the men's basketball program up at Pioneer.
Right.
I'm talking about all the high school kids.
Right.
This is what this show's about.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
So if we don't advocate for these kids at a young age and give them the proper coaching and the proper encouragement as parents, and also take a little responsibility too, you know?
Yep.
Stop being so coddling of everything. Take a little responsibility. Then you can get to the next level where your kids can start to appreciate what good comes out of middle school and high school sports.
Absolutely.
Because 99% of these kids, when they end up graduating high school, they are going on to the real world. The 1% get to go play college ball. Okay,
Absolutely.
guys?
Absolutely.
It's a 1%.
Yep.
Yep.
So, you know the old saying, we talk about the world out there and the 1%'s entitled that, well, guess what, folks? In sports, 1% of these kids get the opportunity to go play college sports.
Absolutely.
The other 99, we're all going to join the men's league over on Sunday morning, all right?
Absolutely.
We're the
Absolutely.
weekend warriors.
Yep.
Or we're going to play in the co-ed league because me and my girlfriend, or you and your wife, because you guys, right?
Yep,
You know,
absolutely.
we're going to go play we're going to play softball, and we're going to play in the co-ed league with our friends.
Absolutely.
And we're going to end up, you know what? I'm going to join the men's hockey league because I'm not going to play hockey for UMass Hockey now that they're number 2 in the country.
Right.
I'm going to end up literally being able to come, and I'm going to play over here at the rink on men's night.
Right.
Yep.
So let's just get it out there. Let's open up the can of worms and just tell people it's coaching and parents.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
100%.
You need to
And
have
I'm
the
doing it,
dedication.
man. And I'm going to tell you right now, if there's a parent that watches this show and doesn't like what they have to hear from me, I don't care, because I'm not here for you. I'm
for the
here for
kids.
these kids. And that's
Absolutely.
exactly why I'm here. And I've been here for those kids starting at when I started coaching his 2 kids.
Absolutely.
Okay? And I'm not going to change,
Nope.
because this is why we're having problems with youth sports
Got to
today.
build the future.
Got to
From
build the
bottom up.
future. Yep. So if you don't have proper coaching and you don't have proper guidance from the parents and the support, that one word, support, then these kids will not continue to play at a higher level.
Yeah,
absolutely
I mean, I
correct.
wouldn't if I was, if the coaching wasn't there, if my parents weren't there to, push me along and let me know that it's just another day.
Yep.
Just go out there next day, give it more.
Good.
And that's
Glad that glad all three of us are on the same page, because I think if we're not going to help build
No, you're right.
the future
You're absolutely
of
right.
our sports programs in this area. And I think that if we all work hard, we all take that opportunity to be able to see that the vision is there.
Yep.
It's you look down the road, it's there. It's getting those kids to walk up that street and want to come play.
Absolutely.
And that's what
Yep.
it's about.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Why all of a sudden does we have great numbers at the youth level, and as soon as we hit middle school, where's those 180 kids?
Absolutely.
And then I know the Tech gets a piece here and a piece there, but
Yeah.
you know what? I looked at Coach Winslow when he had his baseball team. Yeah, he had 18 kids, but you know what? Turner's had 18 kids.
Yep.
Greenfield, Shusnick doesn't have a problem getting 18
Nope.
kids,
Not at
right?
all. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, absolutely.
So
The kids are there.
The kids are there. It's on the coaching and their experience.
They gotta
the
wanna come out and be there.
experience that they were given. If they were given a bad experience, go to a restaurant. If you go to a restaurant and you get food that's bad 2 times in a row, do you go back the third time, guys?
Zero
No way.
chance.
No way.
Zero chance, right?
Might not go back after the first time. But.
Okay. So you know what? Maybe that's the way I put it into the parents' perspective. Okay,
Great.
let's put it in your court here, mom and dad and coach. Here you go. Go to a restaurant, have food there, tell me how the food is the first time. Okay, this wasn't good, this one good. I'm gonna give it another shot. Second time, wasn't good again. Now you're gonna go back that third time?
No way.
Probably not.
No way.
So guess what? That's maybe a good way to be able to show the formula of how important encouragement, coaching, and experience is what's going to get these kids to the next level.
Absolutely.
Yep, and I
Absolutely.
think a lot of it has to do with understanding the difference between coaching at a middle school, high school level and coaching at the youth.
The third and fourth grade, fifth and sixth grade
Suburban
level.
league football or the little league baseball. It's a completely different coaching style, and it has to be.
They're 8.
Exactly.
They're 9. When you're 8 or 9, you got to learn from the role model.
Yep.
You're learning at that age group from the role model that's teaching you
Correct.
the game.
Yep.
You can't learn the game if you don't have the right guidance and you don't have the right encouragement. Because you know what? We all make mistakes. Even as adults, we make mistakes every
Absolutely.
day.
Yes.
So you're going to tell me that a 7 or an 8 or a 9-year-old kid doesn't make mistakes? Oh yeah, they're going to make many mistakes. But the bottom line is that you need to build their confidence up so that they don't keep making those mistakes.
Correct. And when they do
That's-
make the mistakes, just know that you have their back.
That's right.
You know, you're an adult. You know that you're
Yep.
going to make the mistakes, and they got to know that you take responsibility for your mistakes and you just move forward. And that's life in general.
I thank you guys for doing what you do. I thank you guys for making that commitment. Joe, I thank you for driving from South Hadley
Me too.
to assist this guy.
Me too.
Because I'm going to tell you why. He'd have to do it by himself.
Absolutely.
How many teams have you noticed out there, they can't even get coaches? They're literally fighting for coaches right now to be able to take
Mohawk
it on.
Middle School was a prime example. You know, we went up there and talked. We played them the last game of the season, and we talked to the coach up there. He was the offensive line coach for the varsity. And he said once he realized, a week or two into the season, that they didn't have a coach, he stepped up and took over because he wanted to make sure that program stayed around.
Because if the middle school program goes away,
There goes their varsity.
what happens next?
Yep.
Kids start leaving the school to be able to play, and then they don't come back for high school
Right.
because they're already out of school.
Yep.
You know, I also say this, and it does help. If you got a little money, it helps some of these kids because
Yeah,
they
of
can go to
course.
camps.
Yep.
They can get that extra. They get that extra guidance because they have an opportunity.
Yes.
I've watched some kids that are literally coming from dirt poor families that have worked their butt off. And people in the community, I've watched people in the community that know what this family's gone through. And I've watched local business owners or local sports boosters. I've watched them literally go up to the family and say, I want to give your kid a free week at football camp, or I
Right.
want to give your kid that free baseball camp down at UMass.
Yep.
I've watched it. We have a damn good community, man.
We really do.
We really do.
100%.
really do.
And anyone who says we don't are totally off base,
Right.
okay? We have a great community. We have wonderful supporting parents, too.
Yep.
We have wonderful supporting coaches, too. But let me tell you something. What do we remember the most? We remember the bad apples.
Right.
We remember the father who flips out and wants to fight somebody at a
Yep.
football game, at youth football.
Right.
We see the coach who ends up like going off the rails, man, at an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
Yep.
We watch this crap, but what do we remember? We remember that. We don't remember the other 17 coaches who have done an amazing job
Right.
and did everything that they could to help
That's
build
because they
the
don't
program.
get viral airtime like the people who
Darn
lose
right.
their mind.
Yep. The one who loses their mind ends up getting the one that we all remember, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
But what remembers in the mind of a kid? The one who goes off the rails, right?
Absolutely. He remembers
Yeah.
the bad, not
They
the good.
remember the bad, not the good, do they?
Nope.
And you know why? Because that's the one that affected them the most.
Absolutely.
So my point, guys, is that I thank you both for what you're doing. Continue to keep doing what you're doing to be able to teach these kids the right way to be. I love the format of the non-contact during practice week. Look what it did for you. I mean, it definitely paid off. You
Yes.
know, it definitely proved that
And
you
this
guys
is the
were
first
able
year. This is the first year that we did it like that.
Yep. Last couple of years, we had 17, 15, and we did a lot of hitting. But this year was our big thing of just trying to stay healthy and keeping the kids focused on wanting to be able to play on Tuesdays. So it was it's a tough decision to make because you weren't sure how it was going to pan out. But the kids understood where we were coming from. We explained it a million times that you got to take as many mental reps as you do physical reps. And we have like one day a week is where we'd hit. And we had multiple days this year that we only went helmets and shoulder pads or just helmets. Just to make sure that we're in the mental aspect that when we go out and play, that you're not going half speed because you have to think so much.
Yep.
You can go full speed and you don't have to think anymore, and then you can play going downhill.
This is the first year where we were able to put in like an actual full offensive scheme
Yep.
to where we had over 80 plays at the middle school level. We've never
That's
come
incredible.
close to that.
That's incredible.
And we had a kid that never played quarterback before. We had a second-year running back. We had 3 brand new linemen never played before. We had a new receiver, stuff like that. So it's not like we came back with a whole group of skilled players that had played before. So to get these kids to be able to understand what we were trying to do and believe in what we were talking about, I mean, it showed in the end. It showed in the end that they trusted us and we trusted them, and that's you got to have that bond. You have that bond between coach and kids, and that's at the end of the year, when the year's over, it makes it so tough to watch them leave because it's almost like it is a family, and you built that bond with them, and it's tough.
Yeah.
So
I went out on social media and I ripped the coach in youth football. Do I feel bad about it today, guys? I'm gonna look you right in the face and tell you I don't feel bad at all.
right.
You know why? Because it's unacceptable at 8 years old and
Absolutely.
9 years old. It's unacceptable.
I don't know how I would have acted if I was the parent of the kid who was getting screamed at.
Right.
I'm sorry. And then when I get told by this particular coach that it's about mental toughness, okay. At 8 years old, 9 years old,
Mental toughness is in the classroom, period,
Right. Period.
at that age.
Yep.
period.
There's nothing extra.
And you know what the other thing is too? Learning how to make a commitment to being a team player. That is also important, because if you can't be a team player, then maybe you have to join the tennis team.
Right.
Maybe you have to join the golf team, where it's an individual sport.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay? Because some kids, maybe they just like to play individual sports.
Yep.
You know? And that's okay.
Yep.
Because some people just don't know how to interact with other kids.
Correct.
And we've seen that
Correct.
happen.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yep.
But at the end of the day, it really comes down to one thing. It comes down to giving kids opportunities. And we have many places where these kids can get that opportunity in Franklin County.
Yep.
Yes.
We have good programs. It's whether you want to take the initiative to make the commitment to be able to be a part of that team.
It's hard for the kids to be committed if the coaches aren't.
Couldn't agree more.
And then the coaches be committed, the parents have to be committed, and the kids are committed. And if they see that commitment, they're going to stay around and they're going to work harder.
Yeah.
But if you give them that opportunity to, take the easy road, I mean, that's their kids. They want to do what's best for them, easy for them, and so it's tough.
Yeah. But guys, you know how it's working.
Yep.
You know the formula.
Yep.
The formula is, if we don't give the kids good opportunities with a good experience, they're not coming back.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Period.
Absolutely.
That's it. So if we all work together to support each other, us getting the word out about our sports teams,
Amazing.
you guys doing what you're doing to be able to give the kids that experience, if we all work together as a community and we all do the right thing, at the end of the day, we're going to have a bunch of kids that are having fun.
Absolutely.
And that is
That's
number
key.
one.
That is
Because you know
huge.
what? We have a lot of things that the kids have to go through today that we didn't.
Yep.
Guys,
Yep.
there's extended school days now. The kids are putting in a long day. They have a lot of extra stuff that they have to learn that we didn't.
Yep.
Think about it, man.
change in
They're making the
curriculum.
kids today have to do a core math problem that takes literally 20 minutes.
Yep.
You and I, we'd be able to line up the old sticks, lay it out, and there it was, right?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So their homework's taking longer, their commitment of their day at school is longer, and what they need to know and what they need to do to get through the world that we're in today is a lot harder than when we were kids.
Absolutely.
Right?
For sure.
So we need to give these kids the benefit of the doubt as well.
Yep,
and
for sure.
that's where I'm all about, man. I'm
Yeah,
about those kids.
You can never blame the kids.
Nope.
I know,
It's
and
not
I
the
don't,
kids.
and I don't,
Yep.
and I don't, and because I know what those kids. I know how they all start.
Yep.
Okay,
Absolutely.
So let's just know where it all starts.
Absolutely.
And if the parents and the coaches can't take responsibility, then that's why the kids are in the situation that they're in.
Yep.
Correct.
So at the end of the day, you put the blame to where it's supposed to be.
Yep.
And if those people are the ones that are sitting there saying, Bobby C's got, I don't understand where he's coming from. Well, you know what? I'm really sad to say that I feel bad for you.
Right.
I really do.
Yep.
I feel bad for you because at the end of the day, it's about those kids. You brought them into this world. You wanted them. You are here to give them that opportunity.
Yep.
You were brought into this world. Whatever things that you felt that you didn't like as a kid that you thought were very unfair and didn't work out well, it's your chance as an adult now to be able to fix that problem.
Absolutely.
And that's where I'm at, guys.
Yep, correct.
For sure.
And I'm not going to change my attitude about where I'm at when it comes to that because these kids all just want to have fun and play.
Absolutely.
And how many little league kids or how many football kids have you met that were 8 or 9 years old and they went out and played because of their friend? How many does that
Almost
happen?
every single one of them.
Exactly. But what ends up happening though, if they end up building a good bond and have a good time playing, they're not going to quit.
No, they're going to continue to play.
They're going to continue to play.
Yep.
Right?
And that's where
So it's a
the
win,
numbers
win,
start.
win. Right.
The youth.
Joe Arsenault, thank you so much,
Thank
man.
you for having me.
Hey, Rich Burgh, thank you guys.
Thank you.
You guys are the reason why we're going to have opportunity and hope, and I thank you both for being here.
Thank you
Middle
for having
school
us.
coach, Pioneer Valley Regional, undefeated season. Doesn't matter to me about whether it was an undefeated season. The matter is how many kids are going to come back to want to play next year. That is going to be your tell all of whether it was a successful year.
We
Right?
have a lot of talk that kids are going to be coming out to play. So
All right.
a lot of talk. I love it.
All right. Well, on behalf of Philippe Simone, John Meisner, also Allie Murphy, I'm Bobby C. Thank you so much for being a part of the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. Thank you again to the Four Leaf Clover Restaurant, Denny's Pantry. Also to our friend Sean Hubert over at Hubie's Tavern and Restaurant, Avenue A in Turner's Falls, and Lisa Albert of Albert Hearing Services, 33 Riddell Street in Greenfield. For Rich Burgh, for Joe Arsenault, yes, another week is in the books for the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. Don't forget, you can enjoy us. We're on Facebook, GCTV, the FCAT, out there in South Deerfield. Also, we're now in Berniston, in the Berniston Northfield area. So make sure you check us out up there, and also Montague Community Television. Thank you to Deidre as well for making this work. And now the news is out. We are also working our way for the new winter season to be able to be a part of the wonderful Athol Orange Community Television Network with Carol and the crew there as well. So we're really building this, and it's all about the kids. And I want to thank you all for tuning in. Have a great week, everyone, and support your local athletes.
Thanks for watching the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report on GCTV. Catch a game and be sure to join us next time for more sports and fun.